guys, welcome back to my channel, The Inked Reader. Today I am wrapping up the graphic novels and manga that I've read in the month of November. You may have seen that I've actually completed my TBR. However, I've read a bit more because I've read more volumes of one thing you're gonna see in a second. And as always, I'm gonna list them from the least enjoyable read to the most enjoyable read, personally what I found most enjoyable. And I have also to say that I don't give synopsis in my wrap-ups if I've talked about them in my TBR, which I have done about all of them, so I don't need to spend time too much with synopsis. I'm just gonna tell you the genre. So number 7, I have JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. This is volume 2 of the Phantom Blood saga, but it's part 1 but volume 2. This is so confusing. If you're confused, I'm confused too. I always double check, triple check before I buy any of these volumes because I don't know what's going on with this series. It does look stunning though. This is just a continuation from the first volume, and I have to say that I like these way less than the first volume in a sense. It was just less entertaining, while at the same time it's just fun while reading these. I know that this is made of sub-series, and I am not so sure that will continue on throughout. I'm gonna finish the Phantom Blood one, see how it goes, and then see if it's worth, because it's a very lengthy series, I want to know if it's worth continue on. This is the most absurd body proportion I've ever seen. Some of the things that happen in this are also absurd. Like, there is an element of this guy having this sort of magic that basically is nothing. Like, he can walk on water, he can do absurd things, and the thing is that he explains to our main protagonist how this magic works, and he goes, oh yeah, I want to do it too. And I'm just like, what kind of magic is that? Like, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous it's entertaining. That's how I would put it. I gave this 3 stars though. It wasn't that special. I'm sorry, maybe it's just like a one-off volume, but hopefully we'll pick up again. But it was definitely absurd. Number 6, I've got Spy Family volume 3. I'm gonna show you some of the art. Now, I must say one thing. This is still one of the cutest manga series I've ever read. Like, I have generally always have a smile on my face while reading these. There are some hilarious moments that make me honestly generally laugh. I just ship the main couple so much together. Like, there are a lot of things that are going on for this series, and I will check out the anime when I finish the first part of the series. However, I think the hype has died down a bit in terms of, for myself at least. Like, I think I realized that this is not a genre of manga that I would have picked up if it wasn't for such like amazing characters, and I think that's what I am saying. But it is not my favorite thing ever. I'll just say that. I think the first volume was a lot of novelty, and then when I understood where the direction this is going, I'm so eager to pick up a new volume and read about them, and I will continue on, but I don't pull my hair out for Spy Family anymore, while maintaining that this is a very good manga series. Especially it's a very feel-good manga series. It's a relief. Like, if I read something heavy and then I go into Spy Family, I know I'm gonna have a good time, I'm gonna smile. I also have to say that's not my favorite genre of graphic novels, and that's just me being honest. And I gave this 4 stars though. It wasn't bad at all. At number 5, I have The Sandman Dream Country volume 3. Remember that when it comes down to graphic novels and manga, I always love pretty much what I read. So being number 5 doesn't mean that I didn't love this, because I did. I am also appreciating this a lot because now I'm watching the TV series, and now they've gone past volume 2, which is what the first season is about. So I'm really taking my time with, you know, reading a Sandman volume a month. This was the first volume I had never read before, so it was all novelty, all new for me. I got down some of the quotes. I have to say that the Sandman it's growing on me. Definitely, I think some of you told me, you know, Sandman is very much like a sum of its parts, and it's bigger than, you know, what you see in one single volume, and I can start to see that. I really liked all the stories in this one. I really liked all of them. What I don't love about the Sandman, and it's just again me being completely honest with you guys, is the art style. Like, it's just not my cup of tea. I don't know, something is just, I don't hate it by any means, but I don't love it. But I love the content, I love his writing. Like, this, we know it's Neil Gaiman, right? He did create a masterpiece in terms of a character and the dialogues, and love that in the Sandman so much. At number 4 we have a plot twist, because we have Berserk volume 11. This contains, first of all, posters. Don't want to spoil them for you guys though, in case you haven't, because you want to purchase it for yourself. So this contains volume 31, 32, 33. Show you some of the art if I can. Yes, we should be right. These are the majestic deluxe editions. I'm so happy I'm purchasing Berserk and reading Berserk for the first time in this version, just because it allows the panels to have more space, and so the impact is even greater. Berserk has been the love of my life this year, and it's still, even if it's in fourth place, it's still the love of my life. I can feel the climax to, you know, the Millennium Falcon arc is coming. And a lot of it very important build-up, fundamental build-up happening in this volume. And I can see it's coming. I think the end of Millennium Falcon arc is volume 35 or 34. So one more volume, which I'm probably gonna read in January, because it comes out at the end of December, the next volume, the deluxe edition. So it comes out on the 29th of December, so I'm gonna acquire it as soon as I come back and read it in January, and then I will do a whole video about the Millennium Falcon arc, as I've done for other arcs on Berserk. So I've kind of reviewed them, the arcs singularly, and you can find them on my channel. I'll link it down below. I think this has suffered a bit from me having read when the next things I've read. Somehow I enjoyed these slightly less than the rest of the things I've read. However, I still love this, if it makes sense. I also think that there are some elements in this, for example, Casca, and I said, you know, I'm happy to take time with the characters. I'm happy that Miura makes things so realistic and takes its bloody time with the characters. But I think I'm getting frustration toward Casca a bit. And I really like that something happens in this and someone finally kind of just say, oh, well. So I really appreciated that, because I'm starting to feel that. And I'm also kind of, the more ahead we go with Guts and his story, the more I'm kind of, I don't know, I see him very beaten. I see him very tired. And I'm just, I don't know, it's like when you look at your favorite character, one of your favorite characters ever, and you can just see how consumed they are, and it's just like, how far can you go? Like, I'm honestly concerned. I definitely see a lot of things that people have talked about in comments when I reviewed the other arcs in these, how, you know, the bigger scheme and how some characters have to do certain things and how Guts is outside those constrictions. So I'm starting to see all of that, but it's a very much build up, and I'm curious to see what I think at the end of this arc. I still give it 4 stars, full 4 stars, but... and I think this has been a bit of a theme for this arc. Thus far, the arc has not been a 5 stars for me, for whatever reason. At number 3, we have Vinland Saga, volume 2, book 2. This contains 2 normal volumes. Some pages are colored, which I love. Let me show you one of the...
A few moments later.
Sorry guys, I had to move because my camera ran out of battery and I'm trying to film before actually it gets dark. So let's try this. Again, we just got a couple of things to go through. I love when the art is so, in a sense, clean, like when it's so, I don't know, well done. I guess I don't have the right vocabularies to express how much I like this kind of art. It's something that I loved in Berserk and I do love in Vinland Saga. This kind of art that feels very clean. In this volume, like this guy, can't remember the name because I'm horrible with names. I love this guy. And I love about kind of this conflict that our main protagonist has of, you know, growing up with your enemy. So that is a very intriguing concept. It's very intriguing to see be on, you know, on this journey and see how that will play out. And I also think that all the characters in this one, especially the villains if you want, are very complex and you don't know where they stand, you don't know what's going on there. You can't not admire how clever they are and how resourceful they are, and at the same time you know that they are bad people to the core. And it's that kind of being in awe of, you know, how smart someone can be, but at the same time seeing how someone that smart can use it for the wrong reasons. And I think those make very fascinating villains. And Viz has one of those villains. I, again, really loved that character, that kind of Viking that fights for England just because he's bored as fuck. So he wants to just fight someone who's a worth opponent of him. Just really enjoyed this one. It's growing on me, and I don't know, it has something. I can definitely see that he has something, and just I'm growing more attached to it. And just read 2 books, so 4 volumes in total, so. Okay, I even switched on the light in the room, so, you know, the big cavalry is coming out to hopefully save the rest of his footage. So at number 2, I've got Fables number 14. So these are the deluxe editions of Fables. I think, I'm not so sure if it contains 1 volume or 2 of the normal ones. I love how they look. Like, these are amazing books, like stunning. This is a very lengthy adult fantasy. I've talked about the synopsis in my TBR if you're interested. I'll show you some of the art. And now this is the second to last volume, and I honestly, it's probably one of the volumes that I like the most, of the most recent ones. So I really tend to like kind of give 5 stars, 4.5 stars to the first volumes, and then toward the middle it was a mixed bag if you want. Some got that high, some got more on a 3.5 stars, but this is back to being like a 5 stars volume, basically. I gave it 5 stars. Yes, I gave it 5 stars. That was so good. And I really love that in these we kind of explore revival of the history in Camelot, so, you know, King Arthur and all of that. And it's a bit down the line of, does history repeats itself? And leaving you with that question. But things are a bit twisted here and there, and, you know, the cliffhanger at the end of these, just the idea of all of the beloved characters I followed for such a lengthy series. It's 15 volumes, but it feels pretty dense, and it's, you know, a lot of different plots coming together, a lot of characters, a lot of tension building up, and I can't just wait to finish it, but at the same time I'm so sad it's finished, if it makes sense. But this volume was a 5 stars. I just generally couldn't find any fault with this. I think it does build the tension up very well. It just leaves you with, okay, what's next? How is this gonna end? And so it did a masterful job in doing that, in creating that build up and tension that we need. And finger crossed the end is gonna be a big bang. And at number 1, you might suspect what's gonna be in here, but I'm just gonna tell you anyway, because that's why I'm here, right? So at number 1, and I can't, like, they all come together. And this is the series where I've read more than 1 volume. And I did say I'm gonna pace myself and read 1 volume each month, and then I read volume 8, and then it just couldn't stop. We have Chainsaw Man. So volume 8, 9, 10, and 11. So we start with number 8. The volume that fucked up all my plans. We got volume 9. The volume that told me you have to go and buy volume 10 and 11 right now. Volume 10, the volume that made me think, well, now just one more volume you need to finish this month. And volume 11 that finally broke me and put me together. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read you the synopsis that I gave on Goodreads. And this leads me to my point on Goodreads. So I think on Goodreads I always wanted to kind of, you know, be a reviewer on Goodreads and just, you know, take my time to review each single book, and then life. And I realized that, you know, between doing YouTube and all of that, I just couldn't take the time to review all the books or just write a very lengthy, in-depth review on Goodreads. And then when I was reviewing these books, I just made 1-sentence reviews for them, which I'm going to read to you right now, because I think they convey the message so well. So this is what I wrote on Goodreads, and you can go and follow me on Goodreads. And I think this is what I'm going to do from now on for not all books. Some books I will, if I'm in the mood, I will do a proper review. But some books I've just decided, if I sit down and just the first thing that comes into mind, write it down. And that worked well for volume 8. So this volume, I literally said, when you thought you couldn't get any better, Mr. Fujimoto comes up with his next volume, slaps you in the face and makes you a believer. So this is what I wrote about these. Volume 9, I wrote, "Thank you, Mr. Fujimoto, for making me cry. The last time that happened was 1999. For volume 10, I just wrote, "I think I've just got whiplash." And for volume 11, I just wrote, "Who needs therapy after finishing these? Just me?" So that would be in a nutshell what I thought about each volume. I think this was a mad journey, and I know it's not over. I know that new volumes are coming out, but I think for this part of a series, it was just Chainsaw has just really did a trick on me. I think first of all from the characters we follow, and the fact that Denji is so dumb and naive, and at the same time you see how actually he's got so much depth inside of him, and it doesn't mean that depth is still remaining simple, but at the same time such an inspiring character, such a, I don't know, lovable dummy. I can't explain in any other way. I think it shows you, how someone who's so raw, someone who's clearly uneducated and is clearly a bit of a moron overall, very gullible, and how people take advantage of him, but how ultimately, because he's inherently a good person, he makes the right choices and he makes tough choices, and also toward the end also shows that he's learning and he's growing and he is getting better at what he does, and he's got very clever ideas now and then. So I think the twists and turns within this character that Chainsaw Man does are amazing. Now, of course, the amount of violence and the monsters in these, the demons in these, are spectacular. Like these 4 volumes, I challenge you to read just one of them and not continue and just binge read them. If that's a challenge for you, if you can just read one volume, volume 8, and just put it down, just say, oh, well, whatever, I read volume 9, whether. If you can, just tell me what is your secret, because I couldn't stop myself. I'm so eager to continue on, but at the same time, I feel so fulfilled by this first arc. Has been amazing. Has been absolutely amazing. And although a couple of twists I knew they were coming, they were clearly about to happen. What happens in volume 11, the final solution to the problem, I'm here for it. I don't know, as someone again who's read overall a lot throughout her life, the fact that they still find things that shake me so much. I was jumping on the sofa, I was just climbing on the sofa, I was shouting at one point, as it happened when I first read, Game of Thrones, as it happened, with Berserk, the first 2 arcs. And I'm just like, the fact that I can still get so emotional, and yet it happens so rarely, holds so much value for me. So that's why, these last 4 volumes of Chainsaw Man had to be in first place. And if you follow me throughout the years, you saw Chainsaw Man climbing the ladder up and up and up in how much I enjoyed it overall. But I would challenge you to a mortal duel if you tell me you don't like Chainsaw or Berserk for that reason. So yeah, as I challenge anybody who can tell me I don't like Game of Thrones. So that's my wrap up. Let me know what you read, what is your favorite manga graphic novel of the month. And before I finish, very quickly, I wasn't sure that Berserk volume 11 would have come, so I added that in to my December TBR, but it came in on the 29th of November and I read it in 2 days, just because that's Berserk for you. You just devour it. Or for me, I devour it. Berserk, that as soon as it gets in my hands, I just need to keep reading. So I read that, so I'm gonna have just 2 things on my TBR for December, as I mentioned before: Fables volume 15 and Sandman volume 4. I'm leaving for Italy halfway through the month. I don't have much time to reading graphic novels or manga this month. And also thank you for putting up with this light. The sun is just getting down, like sunset is so early. By the end of fall in UK, I don't even know why the sun bothered to come up to begin with. Because basically we got 2 hours of proper light during the day, so we just could not bother at this point. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. If you're new, I would love for you to subscribe, so hit the button down below. Take care of yourself. Ciao!